This episode of Nintendo Expansion Pass is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support Nintendo Pop Like and the Boss Rush Network, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Boss Rush Network and see which tier is right for you. Thanks for your continued support. Hello everybody, welcome to Nintendo Expansion Pass here on Boss Rush Games. I'm your host and Latin Excited Adrian V. Joining me is the one, the only bossman himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig. Hello, good sir.
Hey Ed, how's it going? I'm very excited to talk about some time capsule stuff.
Yes, we are closer to our almost final time capsule with the Switch, but this episode we are talking about 3DS and Wii U. This is going to be an interesting list, everybody. We are doing 5 games each, so 5 games for the 3DS, 5 for Wii U. And I gotta ask you, Corey, was it hard making this list? For the 3DS, it was. For Wii U, not so much.
I mean, I would say the opposite. I think for the 3DS, it was super simple for me. I mean, I didn't really care about the 3DS as much as a lot of people did. I'm more of a console person, that, the Switch is cool because it's a console that you can take with you, right? Obviously, but and that's how I prefer to play games. I was never a huge handheld person. I mean, Game Boy with Tetris and Pokemon, but those were exceptions to the rule in a sense. So for me, 3DS was real easy. And then the Wii U is actually much harder for me to pick. So I'm interested to see where these lists go, because I think we're gonna have 2 very different lists.
Oh yeah, we are.
Although mine's probably way more predictable than yours. So.
Well, I definitely kept one game, a couple of games off because I have a feeling that you are going to say them. I know one game that is on your list. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's on your list. Where's the place at? I don't know, but it is on your list for Wii U.
Okay.
But to give everybody heads up, and to give you heads up, Corey, Push Mode is not on my list. Any of the games are.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a time capsule game. It's a cool game, but I don't know if it's worth wasting a top 5 for.
Yes. So, well, should we start with 3DS then?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go first this time. So my number 5 game is Dragon Quest VIII. This is a game that originally came on the PS2, and I remember playing it on the PS2. And at the time, Dragon Quest, Square Enix and Nintendo ended up having a deal with the Dragon Quest game, so they got 8. And I believe they got 7 also. But I remember they also having Dragon Quest 9 on 3DS. That's straight exclusive to only Nintendo's consoles to the 3DS. But Dragon Quest 8 is such a great game. It's the first and only Dragon Quest game that I have beaten. One that I really got into and played, and the twisted turns for the story and stuff. And it's not, and yes, it is a grind-a-thon. It is a 100+ hour game of grinding. Not compared to the Persona games where you still grind in there, but you go up different levels of a castle, and there's other social things that you could do. In Dragon Quest VIII, though, it is mostly a lot of grinding. For superb soundtrack. Truly love the characters, and the British voice acting is phenomenal. It is very funny also. So I definitely will put Dragon Quest VIII in the time capsule. One of Square Enix's finest games,
Hmm.
definitely. Um,
Okay. 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 Okay.
Corey, what's your number
Um.
five?
Yeah. So Edward, my number five is extremely predictable. Um. So predictable that I just don't. I almost didn't put it on here because it was extremely predictable. But I'm going to choose Mario Kart 7. Uh, I think
Ooh.
I think the DS and the 3DS Mario Karts are the best Mario Karts outside of 8, like by a long shot. I don't think there's
Hmm.
any question that these games. I think Mario Kart DS is better, but in the Mario Kart 3DS on the 3DS just feels like an evolution of the DS game, and I love it. I love Mario Kart on the 3DS. It's it it might be my favorite game on the 3DS, in all honesty, but it's
Ooh.
I love the tracks. I think they do a lot of cool things. I think the 3D works decent enough, from what I remember. I don't have a 3DS anymore. I just have the 2DS XL, uh, because who cares about 3D? But I think they did it pretty well. And I think the courses are really fun, and they ported a lot of the good ones to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So, yeah, Mario Kart, I don't have much else to say. I think it's great. I think Mario Kart 7 is awesome. If you have a 3DS and you like Mario Kart 8, I highly recommend seeking a copy out, and playing it because it's awesome.
And
A lot of a lot of great courses on there.
I skipped Mario Kart 7. I did not
Oh
pick
my
it up.
gosh, Ed, what are you doing?
I don't know Mario Kart on besides Mario Kart DS. Um, I think I just couldn't do Mario Kart on handheld for some unknown reason.
Oh, you're the worst. It's
I know,
fine.
I know.
Whatever, you're fired.
No.
Next.
Well, my number four is Project Exo. This is by Bandai Namco, and it contains characters from different anime, Namco games. Capcom was involved with it. It is a role playing sim kind of game, um, strategy, I should say. And I remember playing this on a 3DS. This is from 2012 and cracking up. Beautiful art cover. Everybody, I advise you to go look it up, and just um, give you guys an idea, from Wikipedia, it says Project X Zone is a crossover tactical role playing game for the Nintendo 3DS developed by Monolith Soft, while assistance from Capcom and Red Entertainment and published by Namco Bandai Games. The game is a follow up to the 2005 video game Namco Cross Capcom and features characters from Namco Bandai, Capcom, and Sega. The game was released on October 11th, 2012 in Japan and June 25th, 2013 in North America. The game received like different kind of reviews and everything, but the praise went toward the game's cast, combat system, and presentation. Um, and even though it's a kind of a weird storyline and the repetitive gameplay, it really is a great game. And it's tactical more, and you just need to make sure you have the right characters and moves that you perform and stuff. But like the 3-man team can perform combos. um you're teamed up with different other characters from different series universes. It's so amazing to play. I laugh and enjoyed myself and did not. It's one of those games that you do not pay attention to the story because it's dumb, but you are having a good time with the characters who are all together. So Project X Zone is definitely my number four. Uh, Corey, what is your
Interesting.
number four?
Well, my number four, um, another kind of gimme here, but I think it is extremely underrated in a lot of ways, just because we have already gotten a couple of these before on the DS and the Wii. There was some controversy with not like major controversies, negative controversy, but just like a lot
Mhm.
of like, oh, this developer developed it instead of like the main team. But I really love new Super Mario Brothers 2 uh, on the 3DS.
Ooh.
I love the fact that the coin collecting is just pure chaos a lot of the time. I think that it's just really charming and a continuation of the DS game. I really love new Super Mario Brothers 2. The return of the Tanuki suit was awesome. Um, just yeah, new Super Mario Brothers. I love new Super Mario Brothers. I know people don't care for it for some reason. I love that series. We've talked about it because obviously Mario Wonder came out recently,
Hmm.
and uh, a lot of people are praising that game. Like it just feels like an evolution of New Super Mario Brothers. I don't know why nobody likes those games but loves this game, but it feels, aside from some of the mechanics, like it feels like the next game. So, whatever. But New Super Mario Brothers 2 on the 3DS is awesome. Highly recommend it. The coin collecting feels super rewarding, and like you end up with like a bajillion lives at the end, even though it's like 99 lives. But how many you have. You have a
Yes.
gajillion lives. So
Yes.
that's my pick, Ed. That's my pick.
All right. Well, my number three, of course, if for people who know me, I'm a big RGP fan. Bravely Default. Like, there is no way in the world I'm not putting this game in a time capsule. The battle system and even the options, like you can go through a dungeon without having no battles besides the last boss, or you could crank it up and go through as many battles as you want so you could get experience. You could speed up the game. And your bravely is when you are stocking up to attack, but your default is where you are defending yourself to get more stock, and you play off different characters. You could choose different classes for your characters, and it was a game that Square Enix, I'm not going to say didn't have hope to see how it sells, but I think it surprised them on how great it sold. Um, Over, I think this is when Final Fantasy 13 was about to come out or was having problems or whatever. But like Bravely Default, as a $40 game, surprised Square Enix that it's so very weird and definitely on the Nintendo platform. I think this is when Square Enix was coming back to Nintendo and trying to work things out and make up and stuff like that. So my number three is Bravely Default.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network and our family of podcasts.
Corey, what is your number three?
So my number three, Ed, can take a turn here. Again, this one's a little less of a Corey game, but something that I love anyway. And I think a lot of people who really enjoyed the recent Super Mario RPG remake will appreciate this too. I'm going to put Mario and Luigi Dream Team on here. It was the first of two original Mario and Luigi games. Of course, we got the two ports of Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story on the 3DS as well. But Dream Team was the first of two because we got Paper Jam on here also, which was a crossover with Paper Mario. It's funny. The kind of a similar thing of you're going inside Luigi's dreams instead of Bowser's body, right? I mean, I think this game is funny. The graphics are great. It's charming. Everything about it is just wonderful, and I hope we get My hope is that we would get some sort of collection of these games on the Switch at some point, because they are just wonderful, wonderful games. And I'm wondering, like, last on the last episode we did our direct predictions for when that ultimately there's a direct in February. I'm not 100% sure when this episode is going out, so that's why I'm saying that. But might have already happened. Who knows? But this Mario, I probably should have predicted that one of these games will be making its way to Switch, or
Mm-hmm.
a collection, like the Game Boy Advance games maybe coming over or something, like uh what was it, Superstar Saga, Partners in Time, because you had the babies. That was on DS because you
Yeah.
had the four face buttons, right? So uh that gave you the four-person party for the first time. And then Bowser's Inside Story were the DS ones, and then
Yes.
yeah. So I don't know. Anyways, I would love to see some sort of collection make it over to the Switch, the way that like the Ace Attorney games did. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Whether you do it in one or two collections, whatever, or maybe just make a new one. Either way, I would love. I know Alpha Dream is gone, right? That was the studio that developed these, and they shut down after the last one on 3DS because it sold poorly. But these games are great. Uh, and I know we're getting Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door remake this year, but a Mario and Luigi RPG would be awesome.
Oh,
So that's my
just
pick.
shoot. Even just a new game of Mario and Luigi on Switch would be something I would get.
Right.
Because I always loved the art style of those games, and just like you said, the writing is hilarious and it's so good.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right,
So that's my pick.
okay. Well, my number three is, and we just talked about it in our direct episode, Xenoblade Chronicles X. Like, I'm sorry, Corey, I had to steal it. Oh
Well, X
no,
isn't X
that's
isn't
Wii U.
on.
Sorry. I mean, Link Between Worlds. I'm sorry. Dang
Wow.
it. Everybody knows my number three then, but I'll
You
still
okay,
talk
Ed?
about that. Yes, I was looking at my wrong list. Uh, but Link Between Worlds. Oh my goodness, if this is not a 10 out of 10. This
I'm
may
surprised that we
be
haven't gotten a port of that to Switch yet.
it. To me, it's probably the. I love Super Mario 3D Land. Trust me, I love it. Even though 3D World crushes that game, big time. A Link Between the Worlds, um, set a very high bar, a new level for the Legend of Zelda series. And yes, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom has beaten it, has topped it, but like it was true open world, and getting those weapons and going to any dungeon that you wanted to, and you tried your hardest. Now this is the real Souls game, everybody, because you could not die in that game. If you died, you lost that weapon that you rented, and you would have to go back and rent that weapon again to continue your journey. Now it does get to a point where you can buy it, uh, and it'll permanently be with you. Um, but like you would try your hardest not to die in that game, and it's probably the one of the handheld games that got Game of the Year nominations, and I think it won one somewhere. Um, but it is that good, and it just looks so beautiful. It was so buttery smooth on the Nintendo 3DS. It was just something that I had to ponder with, even after I defeated the game. Like even after I conquered it, I was just like, "How, Nintendo? How did you do this on this system?" And after playing it, I was just like, "I need Link Between Worlds. I mean, Link to the Past to be redesigned like this, to be in these graphics, to like be done like this." Yes, Link's Awakening remake, I would love that too if they could do it. Link's Awakening, Link to the Past, and the Link's Awakening artwork style. But love it. Heck, give me one or two in that art style. Would love it. But yeah, I had always said I need a remake of Link to the Past in this engine, in this graphics, because it is everything. It is still one of my top Zelda games of all time. Like it's just it's to me it's perfect. I, People can say it's not perfect, it got flaws. Great. If you believe that, you believe that. But to me, it's a perfect 10.
Yeah. Well, people can people can play it for themselves. I still think what they need to do is like really take a look at what they did with Link's Awakening,
Mm-hmm.
and not in that style in particular, but look at what they did with Link's Awakening and come up with an art style that works for both A Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds, and bundle them together for $60 or $70.
Ooh, my
And
coins.
that way they feel like a cohesive unit of games, right? Like you don't have to
Yes.
merge them together into one game, but you can definitely sell them together and be like, obviously Link to the Past is the first game and then Link Between Worlds is the second game. So
I would definitely be like, okay, let me get my pre-order ready. Let me get this money
yeah,
ready. Nintendo,
man,
come get
I
these dollars.
that's the one thing I actually hope for this next Switch is that there's like a second screen experience that it allows you to play DS and 3DS games. Where like maybe it just folds like a clamshell, just like, you know, and then it just sits in a dock instead of like these big bulky docks that we got. Not that the docks are bad, but you know,
Yes.
whatever.
Corey,
Anyways.
what is your number two?
Oh boy, my number two, Ed, is I think this game is something that is definitely worth checking out. I think it's a little on the I don't know. I feel like it's probably the best one of the 3DS games, and I know we have a couple on Switch already, but um I still think Fire Emblem Awakening is still
Yes.
the best Fire Emblem uh up to Three Houses, and I would put that and Three Houses very close to each other. It's still very traditional in a sense, but it is the
Mm-hmm.
first one that really explores the relationship thing, and that does it well. And so, I think Fire Emblem Awakening has some really memorable characters, right? Like Lucina and Chrom, and just these characters that everybody loves already. And I don't know. There's something very special about Fire Emblem Awakening, and even though like Fire Emblem Fates came out afterwards and it was very good, Birthright in particular,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then Shadows of Valencia was okay. Uh, there's something very special about Fire Emblem Awakening, and also the story that like Fire Emblem was going to end as a franchise if it didn't sell well. This was like its swan song of a
Yeah.
game, and for it to be that special and kind of revitalize the entire franchise, and now Fire Emblem being one of the biggest franchises Nintendo has, all because of Awakening, is um, I think if you want to see the rebirth of a franchise and how to kind of revitalize a franchise, you have to look at where it began, and Fire Emblem Awakening was that. Like I didn't care about Fire Emblem until Fire Emblem Awakening, to be honest with you.
Right,
You know,
because it still was not a popular title in America, even with the Game
yeah.
Boy,
Well, half of
the
them still
GameCube.
didn't even make them over, right? I mean, like
True, yeah,
the one the Game Boy Advance one was technically like the fourth or fifth title. The one that's just titled Fire Emblem for Game Boy
yeah,
Advance is like the fourth or fifth game, right? And then you
yeah.
have what, Sacred Stones also for
Yeah,
Game Boy Advance, and
we
DS
didn't
had
get
Shadow Dragon.
we didn't get the first one. I think until whichever one dropped on Switch. I think the first one is on Switch.
Well, the first one they localized and re-released during that anniversary recently, right? It was
Mhm.
like $8, and they sold it for like 4 months, and then they didn't sell it
Yeah,
anymore. Uh, but wasn't one of the games? I think one of the games was a remake of the first one on DS, Shadow Dragon, I think, or
I think so. Yeah,
Dragon Shadow or whatever it was. So.
yeah. It Awakening and this was the breakout moment for Awakening. Of course, the
Hmm.
characters and definitely the music, and like they gave you a normal where you don't have permadeath in it, and that was the big savior. This is just so that you guys know, because of the 3DS with Fire Emblem Awakening, like Corey said, that jumped off the whole series. This even happened to Monster Hunter because Monster Hunter 4 on 3DS jumped the whole series. Monster Hunter was not popular in America. Um,
Hmm.
Monster Hunter 4 came out, definitely that 3DS Monster Hunter 4 limited edition hardware. That was a big one. And they both were like close in, like I think they released on the same day. I think Monster Hunter 4 and Fire Emblem Awakening, and it just took off. Uh that I agree with you, Corey. Man, my Fire Emblem Awakening is historic.
Hmm.
And I think it's
Yeah.
the foundation for people getting to learn the series. And just like you said, uh, Three Houses just took the whole series to a whole new level. Um, and so I'm happy to see uh, that people here in America and kind of around the world really love and appreciate and was able to have Nintendo keep the series going by purchasing Fire Emblem Awakening. It's Strategy Systems, that was their baby. Like, if anything, when you hear the Strategy System, if you know their history and you know them as a company, Fire Emblem is going to probably be the first name that comes out of people's mouth. It's like it literally is on a household name like Final Fantasy, in a sense. Like no joke at all. So
Hmm.
great choice.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's that game is so. I just remember getting having that game and like I didn't even really know what Fire Emblem was, and
Mm-hmm.
I would say that Fire Emblem Awakening got me into strategy RPGs. Because I never played
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Tactics. I never played XCOM. I never played these tactical RPGs that people love because they were always too. I was always too impatient. You know, and again, I think that's a credit to Nintendo of creating something that I know a lot of people like to credit Pokemon as baby's first RPG or Zelda's people's first action event, whatever, and this is baby's first tactical strategy game, but like strategy RPG, but like Nintendo makes it worth, exploring. And I would have never gotten into other games like Gears Tactics or have an interest in XCOM or these other games without Fire Emblem. And I know
Yeah.
technically they're a little bit different games, but on the surface they're tactical games. And so yeah, it's Fire Emblem Awakening is a wonderful game. It's a wonderful experience. I thought about putting it at my number one, uh but and it maybe should be, but um it's an incredible experience. And I think everybody should play Fire Emblem Awakening if you have access to a 3DS.
It literally is one of the games that should be on everybody's 3DS, like without a shadow of a doubt. And it teaches you the yin yang gameplay. Like it teaches you all of that, and that's so good. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Corey, my number one is Phoenix. I'm sorry, everybody. Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. I believe this was Level Five's last game for 3DS and for a bit, and it takes. I love It takes Phoenix Wright's gameplay and Professor Layton's gameplay and mixes them together. Um, to them to like solve riddles and everything to get clues that you also use in the presentation for court cases. It is very funny. It really changes here and there, and you do a lot of searching and everything. And great puzzles, great court cases, and like trying to find clues. And it's Phoenix Wright being his goofy self, and this Professor Layton being his proper professional smart self and everything. And to see these two games come from these two different companies to make this, like it I don't even think it was thought of as like a fan game, like Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton. Like I don't even think nobody was thinking that as a fight or mashup. But they came together and they made this, and it's so lovely and so wonderful. And it's a long game. Like even
Mhm.
outside of the court cases, the riddles and stuff really would get you thinking. And it's a good story and a great ending. To find out everybody. So my number one is Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. And and to let everybody know, it's not so much as a versus. They do team up together, but they just use it to get like the name and everything.
Mhm.
Corey, what is your number one?
So this is it's kind of a cop out, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I think, I mean, it's Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, like a 1A, 1B. I think these are the definitive versions of these games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wish they were on a console, like especially with the quality of life changes in each version, especially Majora's Mask, with you being able to skip ahead in time and just finish the task at hand and then move along, right? Like I think these games are wonderful versions of these games, and you have to give it to Grezzo for doing such an amazing job of making sure that uh, these functioned on a console like this. And also, like, shout out to Ocarina of Time for that 3D effect working so well. Like that 3D on
Mm-hmm.
Ocarina of Time is incredible. So Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, I don't. I mean, these are some of the greatest games of all time, and you're making them better on a console that sold a bajillion units. Like, yeah, it's bravo to them, right? I mean, they're so good. They are so good, and yeah, that's kind of all I have for that. I don't really know what else I can say about these games that haven't been said before.
Right.
So
I think they are both the definitive way to play those games. Even though they are on NSO, um, if you want to experience the retro original versions, the game not GameCube ones, the N64 is a good way to look at them. But if you want the definitive better versions, it is the 3DS. So I agree with you.
mhm,
All
yeah,
right.
so
Well, Corey,
that's my thing, I guess.
let us move on to Wii U. Should we continue the same way, or did you want to start?
No, we can go the same way. I'm
Okay,
doesn't matter to me.
so my number five is Paper Mario Color Splash. I love this beautiful game on Wii U. I crack up. Um, it still continues that humor. It's still, yeah, it's a little bit like the GameCube Paper Mario, but like it's just so funny, and the colors that you use in this game, is just so good. I wish this game would have came to Switch, so bad, and
Well, we got a
everything.
Paper Mario. We got Origami King, which is arguably better.
And for some people, yes. For me, definitely, it's a great game. I kind of find it equal to Color Splash, in a sense, because it's like it's always the writing and the perfect comedic timing that these games have. And the journeys are so good, and I just love this game. It didn't get a lot of love from a lot of players. Some people say it's kind of one of the worst Paper Mario's. Because they just like it's so paint by the numbers. In a sense, but I don't think so. It's one of my favorites of this. I bought it day one when it came out, and love it ever since. So Paper Mario Color Splash is my number five for Wii U. Corey, what is yours?
My number 5 for the Wii U, Ed, is none other than Tokyo Mirage Sessions. So basically, if you don't know, which you should because the game is on Switch as well, and I know we have quite a few Persona fans here. Basically, what they did was take the Shin Megami Tensei slash Persona formula and make your personas, aka your Mirages, Fire Emblem characters. And it's the whole game is kind of based around the idol scene in Japan, and you are a fan of one of these idols, and the idol ends up you end up befriending the idol, and you kind of progress the story from there. But it's a really fun RPG. It's very interesting that Atlas teamed up with Nintendo to do something like this, because that obviously especially since Persona 4 Golden, I would say, and then up to 5, like Persona has really exploded on as being one of the most popular JRPGs ever.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that Nintendo got an exclusive one, again, this is available on Switch. You should definitely check it out. The Wii U adds a little bit of, I would say the second screen doesn't add a whole lot, but it does add, the tablet kind of emulates your phone, and there's a lot of quote unquote texting going on in this game. And,
Yeah.
when you go down and you use the touchscreen as like you can send responses out. It's interesting. Not enough to go seek out a Wii U and get it, but I would say that Tokyo Mirage Sessions is an amazing JRPG, and you should definitely play it.
Go watch the trailers before the game got like finalized and everything, and just listen to the music in those trailers. I have shouted to the mountaintop on Power Block. I wanted the soundtrack. I wanted the music. I love Tokyo Mirage.
The soundtrack's great. It's really good.
Yes.
So,
well, my number 4, and I don't know if this is on yours,
I'm sure it is,
Corey. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse.
Oh, it's not on my list, but that's a great one. It's one of the few Kirby games that I will accept in the pantheon of Kirby games. So,
I even though it is Wii U exclusive, and there's reasons why that it is exclusive, because you're painting with the on the tablet and everything to make Kirby be able to move and everything. The claymation in this is pure goodness. I'm like, okay, I love what y'all did with Epic Yarn. Bunkers. Just love what y'all did. This took it to a whole new level. I'm just like, see, this is why no one can't do what Nintendo does. Because they can make a game out of different art styles and techniques and stuff. And it just comes out so beautiful. Oh, not Color Splash. I'm sorry, everybody. Rainbow Curse is just so good, and just seeing it all animate on the screen. I think it was at a lock 30 frames per second. They might have some drops here and there. But man, just seeing how everything moved. And it's one of the games that as a player, you're watching it on the tablet while friends or family or whoever is with you, they're watching it on the TV. And they can just see how good it is in the motion. and how great that game is. So definitely my number four. And it was just something definitely new because I haven't. I mean, since Clay Fighter, since the Super Nintendo days, I don't know what other game was using clay for like animation for a whole game. Like, and that's just me. So seeing this game, I was just like, kudos Nintendo. Like y'all, I don't know how y'all did it, but y'all spot on did it. Like mad props. So Kirby and the Rainbow Course is my number four. Corey.
It's a pretty man. It's really good. It's a really great game. So my number four, Ed, is this would be higher except for the simple fact that it's a port. But I don't care. Is Wind Waker HD. Um, Obviously Wind Waker is apparently I found out that Wind Waker is pretty divisive still,
Mm-hmm.
and I did not know that. I thought it was like one of those revisionist history things where everybody hated it at first and then everybody loved it, and now everybody just loves it because it's a Zelda game. But no, apparently people don't care for Wind Waker all that much, and I didn't know that. But this is definitely one of the definitive games for the Wii U, hands down. It was the only special edition console we got was the Wind Waker HD Wii U, and it was
Mm-hmm.
really just the gamepad had the Wind Waker kind of art around the screen.
Yes.
Uh, it's an incredible update to maybe one of the best looking GameCube games ever. It shows that the art style Nintendo chooses in a lot of its games, but specifically this game stands the test of time, which does not bode well for another Zelda game that is on my list later. But that's okay. Wind Waker will forever be one of the best looking games of all time, and this is the definitive version. You should play it. Hopefully, we get a Switch version of this soon. It
Yes.
deserves. I mean, it's the only Zelda game that exists on a console that nobody purchased twice. So I mean, nobody bought a GameCube and nobody bought the Wii U, and that's where Wind Waker is stuck. It deserves to be on a console that people own, so everybody can enjoy it. Uh, I
Yeah.
love the animations. I love the
Mm-hmm.
um, this was really like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask did this really well, but um, I think Wind Waker is the best at it, up until recent games, I would say. But Wind Waker, um, Link's emotions and impressions on his face are just top tier in this game, and yeah, it's great. Also, the dungeons are pretty good. The combat's pretty fun. Uh, and it has one of the best Ganon boss fights endings of all time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like
I'm
no
not going to
doubt,
spoil
dude.
it, but it's one of the best. So
Uh, one of the smoothest of the animation, dude, and then seeing the
yeah,
HD version, I was just like,
yeah,
oh, it
it's great.
it's so good.
hmm It's great. It's one of the best.
All
So
right. Well, like I said, number three was Xenoblade Chronicles X. I can't say no more about it. We talked about it in our Nintendo Direct. But this game is beautiful. Seeing this vast world and land and just the animals moving and just the water and the ground, just the exploration. Like it really is a phenomenal game. Um, and it's just like I said, still to this very day, how in the heck did you get this game running on the Wii U? Like it's completely magic. It continued my love for Monolith Soft for it. So I think it definitely needs to switch port. So my number three, Xenoblade Chronicles X. Like no, I can't say anymore. Corey, your number three?
okay, my number three, Ed, is something really It's funny because like I don't even really think that this game is amazing or anything. It's I think what it does very well, and I think just the kind of over the topness, but also fun that the series has
Hmm.
is something worth playing. I wasn't sure if I should go with the first one or the second one. I think personally the second one's a little bit better. Uh, but I still think you should play the first one. But Darksiders 2 um,
Ooh,
is one of that series is one of my favorite series in
yes.
games that I don't think gets enough love or gets talked about enough. And so, you know, it's kind of an action RPG with a loot system that that you go through, and uh, it's just a really unique series. If you don't know, Darksiders, the whole entire series is about the four horsemen of the apocalypse and the problems that come with the apocalypse. Starting early, the first game is about death, or it's about war.
Right.
Uh, Kind of being framed for starting the apocalypse early, and then uh, two is about death and trying to find who framed war, and then three is about Fury. They changed the last two horsemen to sound cooler, so a Fury and Strife are the last two. And the thing about the series is that each game is a different genre of game. Where War is more like a classic. I would aim it more towards classic God of War combat with Zelda style dungeons.
Hmm.
Two is more of an action RPG. Combat's similar, but it's still more very action RPG. The third game with Fury is a straight up Souls game, uh, which if you like Remnant from the Ashes and Remnant 2, it's that studio did Darksiders
Yes.
3. And then Darksiders Genesis is a top down twin stick shooter with Strife. So, and it's a multiplayer, and the second player plays as War. So that's I still hope we get some sort of some sort of another Darksiders game, but I don't know if we will because Remnant is so popular. But anyways,
Gunfire
yeah,
games.
Darksiders 2 is great. Darksiders 1 is also available on the Wii U. Um, I highly recommend both of those games. 2, in my opinion, is better. Uh, I think the idea of that world is fleshed out better in 2. I still think 2 is probably the best game in the series at this point.
Hmm.
3 was fun, but 3 was really empty. A lot of the levels are really empty because I think they were going for that Souls like thing, but they didn't know how to fill
Yeah.
the world with enemies that weren't, you know, difficult. I don't know. It was strange. I like 3 a lot, but 2 is definitely the best one, and that's my pick.
I actually beat three. Ugh, the struggle of
Yeah,
that game.
yeah.
It's like,
Three's three's not the best. But it does do some, and I think it does some interesting things that I think they really pull off in Remnant actually.
yeah,
So yeah, but Darksiders 2 is my pick.
yes. Well, my number two is Zombie U. This was a launch game for the Wii U, and it showcased what you could do on the gamepad, like unlock doors and feeling that fear that all of these zombies are coming from you. And when you die, you play as a new character, and you got to try to find your old stuff. But you might end up fighting your old self also that you have to kill to get that stuff. It was really cool. The trailer is really cool to watch. And it was just something new that Ubisoft had brought to the table and everything. And it sold very well on Wii U. It didn't do so well on PS3 and Xbox. Um, but it really just showcased the ideas that could be implemented in this open world action kind of zombie game. So Zombie U is my number two. I had to put in a launch game for people to understand
Mhm.
why that game was so popular. Corey, what is your number two?
My number two is The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. It's my favorite Zelda game. I would, aside from Breath of the Wild, which is in just a
Mm,
totally separate category at this point of games for me.
yes.
Twilight Princess is my favorite game of all time. It's my favorite Zelda game. It's also my favorite game of all time. It also means a great deal to me personally in a lot of different ways that I won't discuss here, but we will have that discussion at some point, maybe. Uh, but it's an incredible port of this game. They fix a lot of the issues that were in the first game. There's a quest they've specifically fixed to make shorter and less difficult because of the way the quest is set up. Similar
Hmm.
to Wind Waker. I didn't mention that in Wind Waker either. They made that quest easier too in the back half of the game.
Yes.
Uh, I do want to say that the graphic style, as much as I like it, does not hold up as much as Wind Waker's does. It actually is kind of ugly in a lot of places, but I do love that art style of Zelda, and I hope they revisit it. Um, I mean, the Wii U tech demo, just look that up, everybody. With that art
Yeah.
style, like I would love to see Twilight Princess, a darker Zelda, come back in the form of a Twilight Princess sequel because the way the game ends, I think you could pretty much make a sequel, like a direct sequel, in my opinion. Once the spoilers, I guess, for Twilight Princess, but when the mirror shatters at the end, you could go put the mirror back together and find a way to get back there. But uh, Twilight Princess, awesome Zelda game, love it, the best version, and so yeah, that's my number two.
Yeah, it did a Resident Evil 4 where they had to scrap it and redo the whole game over and over. Uh, and it came out to be one of the greatest games. I love Twilight Princess. Like, it has some of my favorite dungeons in there. Um, yeah, I agree. Well, we are at our number one. Mine is an easy one, but Corey, I'm gonna guess your number one because I'm surprised I didn't hear it.
Hmm.
Is it Mass Effect 3?
No,
that
no, that's not on my list. That's not
that
on my list.
surprised me.
That's not on my list. As much as I love Mass Effect 3 and as much as I love the Wii U version of Mass Effect 3,
Hmm.
the reason why I didn't put it on my list is because there are about 10 other different ways to play that game and
Yes.
experience the way Mass Effect is supposed to be experienced in terms of the
Hmm.
story. Um, with that said, I think mechanically the Wii U version is the best version of Mass Effect 3. But I mean, with the Legendary Edition out on PS4 and Xbox One, and uh, even the entire original trilogy on Xbox 360 and PS3 and PC, like there are multiple ways to play that game and in a better capacity. But yeah, that's not my number one. I did think about Mass Effect 3 a lot
Hmm.
while I was picking my games, and it's funny because like you could look at my list and be like, oh well, you could have just not thought about it at all, but I actually thought really long about this list, uh, and so it's not my number one. Sorry.
Oh,
My number one, though, Ed, is very obvious, and I can't believe that was the game you went to and you said you wanted to guess my number one.
because
Anyways.
I couldn't believe because I thought it would be on your list. Even when you said Darksiders 2, I was
Hmm.
thinking of Mass Effect. When you even said Wind Waker, I was thinking of Mass Effect, and I'm just like,
Hmm.
Mass Effect 3, he has to have this on the list. Of course, yours is Super Mario 3D World. Like that
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
like
And the only reason why also Breath of the Wild is not on my list because I think that game is so synonymous with the Switch, and it's going to be the unanimous number one game
Oh
for
yeah,
the Switch when we do
like
this for
like
Switch.
because everybody the Switch is getting 10 games from each of
Uh-huh.
me and Corey. Like so, it's gonna be
Yeah.
20 games, and it's just like
Hmm.
Breath of the Wild. Like you not about to pass up not getting a Switch without having Breath of the Wild. That's one of the first one-to-one attachments to that system.
Hmm.
You know, the
Yeah.
Wii U version is a collector's edition. If you couldn't, but it also if you couldn't get you a Switch when it came out, this was your other option to get was Breath of the
Hmm.
Wild.
Yeah.
Uh,
So that was
but then you should know my number one.
I should know your number one.
Yeah.
Um I don't. I'm not gonna lie to
Are
you.
you surprised? Really?
Yeah.
Even
It's probably
even
something really weird that I just am not
no,
thinking of.
it's not. It's not. I'm gonna let you know. It's not Yoshi's Woody World. It's not
I
that.
I wasn't gonna pick Yoshi's Woolly World.
I'm
I don't know.
I'm surprised.
I really don't know what it
Bayonetta
is.
2.
Oh, I forgot that game existed. I'm not gonna lie to you. I
Like,
I totally forgot that game really existed.
did you have it on your Switch? I bought you the physical version.
I forgot it existed.
Ah,
I'm
Corey.
sorry.
One of the games that made me love Platinum even more. Everybody, I love Okami, but Platinum games themselves, like, Bayonetta 2. It's just it's such a perfect game in this action. And the reason I said the Wii U version because I think it's 60 frames per second. Um, the demo I still have on my Wii U. Going through the game and replaying it on different levels, the combos, the cut scenes are funny, and they mix a lot of things into that game, and it flows so good. Fighting angels and devils and stuff. It keeps you on your toes here and there, and it's a game that you can play on the gamepad or with the Pro Controller. I actually beat the whole game on the gamepad uh, for Wii U. So it's available for Switch and everything, but like that for the true experience with the Wii U version. I remember that game getting announced exclusively for Wii U, and people were upset
Mm.
and everything. But when people got it, they were just like, "This is my game of the year." Like it really it really helped Platinum get more financing and work from other companies because of Bayonetta 2.
Hmm.
So my number one is Bayonetta 2 for Wii U.
Hmm.
Corey, take it away with Super Mario 3D World because
Yeah, I mean
that's another perfect game.
Super Mario 3D World is the best game on the console, in my opinion, hands down. And that's including Mario Kart 8. Although I think the Switch version of Mario Kart 8 is exponentially better with the battle mode and
Agree.
all the DLC and the new characters and tweaking of the archetypes and everything. I just think Mario Kart 8 on Switch is
Switch.
incredible. Yeah, Switch is incredible. Not that this
100%
version
agree.
isn't, but I think there are games that I would prefer to play over Mario Kart 8. And Super Mario 3D World is, again, you could say the same thing I just said about Mario Kart 8 on the Switch for this because they tweaked the speed and the platforming physics a little bit, and just the way a lot of the game feels they changed on the Switch. Also, they kind of took out the Wii U gamepad specific kind of mechanics, like the blowing into the microphone and the tapping on the screen and everything, which are
Mm-hmm.
mechanics that do not exist in the Switch version. But with that said, the level design is some of the best. It takes what I like about the 3D games and my love of the 2D games and makes them one game. Because I've been very vocal that I'm not a 3D Mario guy. I just don't care. It's not that I don't care, and it's not that they're not great games, but I'm I have a really hard time with 3D platformers in general, in terms of depth of field and being able to
Mhm.
judge distance and everything. And I think this game does a great job of helping my sensibilities with that aspect. And the fact that you can the level starts at at point A and you have to make it to point B with secrets in between is just it's a wonderful experience. I hope we get a new one. I would love if the next console launched with one, and then they saved the 2D Mario or the full on 3D Mario game for a year or two down the road.
Yeah.
Um, but with that said, this game made me. This was one of the first games where I said the Wii U might be Nintendo's best piece of hardware up to that date, right?
Yes.
I just love it. I think the cat suit is great. I think a lot of the other mechanics that they have in the game are awesome. I think the challenge level, especially after you beat Bowser's Castle, like those extra levels, which I have 3 more on the Switch version, and I just refuse to play them because.
And then Captain Toad. Oh,
Yeah. Also, the introduction of Captain Toad was awesome. Which, by the way, the Captain Toad in Mario 3D World is different than the Captain Toad game, like significantly different in a lot of ways. But it still introduced Captain Toad in that style of kind of isometric, non-jumping platforming, and it's cool. It's really cool. To the point where we got a new game and a half out of it. So, because Captain Toad. On Wii U is great, but they've removed some of the levels from the one for Switch and added Mario Odyssey versions of those levels, and then they had DLC. So, Captain Toad is also worth picking up as well. Mario 3D World, lock it in, put it in there, just lock it up. It's awesome.
Well, everybody, that's our time capsule to remind you guys. This is my 3DS and the Wii U list. Number 5 was Dragon Quest 8. 4 was Project Exo. 3, Bravely Default. 2, Link Between Worlds. 1, Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton. That was my 3DS. Now, Wii U is Paper Mario Color Splash, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Zombie U, and Bayonetta 2. Corey, you want to just run down with yours?
Tokyo Mirage Sessions, The Wind Waker, Darksiders 2, Twilight Princess, and Super Mario 3D World are my 5-1.
For Wii U.
For Wii U, yes. That's what I
3DS.
said. Oh, for 3DS. Okay. Shoot. I deleted the list already. So, let's see. Ocarina of Time, Mario and Luigi Dream Team. We had New Super Mario Brothers 2. What'd you say?
Majora's Mask, Mario Kart 7.
Wow. Yeah, Mario Kart 7, Majora's Mask with Ocarina of Time. And then what was my first game?
Fire Emblem Awakening.
Oh, right. Fire Emblem Awakening. So those are my 5. Yes. There. That was the stumble, but we did it. I deleted my list because I thought we were done. I thought we already did that. My brain my short-term memory is exhaustingly bad.
Terrible.
So sorry, everybody.
Well, everybody, that is our time capsule for Wii U and 3DS. Our next time that we do this, we will be having 10 Switch games for you guys to look and choose. And I say look and choose because it's just like we're choosing these games to actually put into a time capsule, and that would be like all the Nintendo stuff that we feel is a good set for our time capsules for Nintendo. But then everybody have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Nintendo Expansion Pass. Bye, everybody.
Bye. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network and our family of podcasts.